You set up rules at first. For quite a few years, the restriction was just try to make it as beautiful as I could. It's been maybe 30, 40 years that I've been working with miniatures. So this became my own assignment. I first showed it in Three Rivers in Quebec at the Museum of Humor. And I had two people on it and no other, there was no animals. It was just basically the landscape. But when the show opened, I was looking at it and I went, this piece isn't even nowhere near done. I mean, that's just that phase. So I bought it back and started working on it. And this is when it started building up. But the pigs I already had, because I have a big collection of miniatures, I already had maybe 50 pigs. So I thought, well, let's put some pigs in here and see what happens. And then I started socializing it, making it that people come here to stay in the landscape. So it started building its own world. And I just had to drop the rules and let it develop. And because it's over a period of time, it just became more and more and more populated. So the pigs started growing, people started moving in, deforestation started happening. Sort of what we do as humans, I was doing in miniature. Just more and more was pulling away from the landscape of it just being something beautiful and not being occupied yet. I mean, not by colonizers. So at this time, it was just letting it be about vacation. People coming and just overpopulating it. With the pigs, this many pigs, and I haven't counted them yet, there wouldn't be any foliage left. They would completely eat itself. So it's right at that stage. It's that, the people are keeping it up with the gardening, because there's gardeners all through it. So it's, I would say, at a turning point any time. Might come in the morning and it's all gone. Working on a title of the piece, and when we're doing the construction of the house and the studio, the crew would come in and they're the ones that called it Pig Mountain. There's, how's Pig Mountain going? And they're going, it's going good. Yeah, it's going, there's more pigs. At that time, there was just only pigs. And then it started developing into birds. There's rabbits, there's snakes. It's almost like, it's a little bit like Noah's Ark now. There's goats. The goats are higher up. It's actually 9 angles, so there's each side has got its own feeling, and then the corners. I worked each one as 4 corners, so wanting the piece to have these 4 images, and plus the 9th is the top, which nobody really will see. It depends on the situation, but most of it won't be seeing the top. It was too flat for a long time. I started making these kind of swirls and pathways, because there wasn't any pathways for the pigs, only in the bottom. So that's all been built up. So it just started narrating the piece, how they're going to travel through, where are they coming from. So there's areas like people transporting them, people swimming with them, but they're being moved over from this part to that part. So there's a lot of little clues that's not necessarily true, because there's other areas where the pigs are swimming across, which is another area. So they're all around. So where are they coming from? And there's certainly the areas that I started with, this up here. This is And then the beach area, this is the most recent, and probably originally I was going to make all of this section into beach, but I got carried away. This is a sanctuary here for the rhinos and hippos. I mean, I've had those maybe for 40 years. I just thought I would, when am I going to use them? And I just thought, well, this piece isn't allowing me to add whatever I want. So, and it kind of worked out. It's sort of like a zoo. And then you can see there's all the photographers have found, they're photographing the whole area, but then they were pointing out. So they're directing, the narratives just starts telling the people, they're sort of telling you what's going on. So they're pointing out, but there's mermaids in the water. So it's attracted the photographers. And there's a whole camp area. I even got the Grim the Reaper. And he's just talking to the other, what do they call that when you cut grass with the... I mean, he's being asked something, and I wonder what it is. I've worked with, set up things. There's things in here where I use these as living spaces or studios. This is the caboose. And that comes back to something like, years ago, I would say probably around 1970, around then. I knew somebody who was living in a caboose, so that was that kind of period of time where people were finding alternative spaces to live in. So some of it comes from the world that we live in, and there's been areas where I just that's a nice spot, I wouldn't mind hanging out there, So, but I don't know if I want to hang out with that many pigs. It was about, I guess, 1979. I went to New York. I was living in Victoria at that time, and I went to New York. I was still at U of Vic, finishing up, and I saw Monet's water lilies, and I was quite blown away with it, especially when you go up close to it. How much color was in it. Not knowing that one day it might be doing something that's pretty, not just how this piece, when you're up close, it's sort of like pointillism or Seurat painting. So it's basically, I went back to painting in some ways with these blotch foliage. Well, because I graduated as a painter. I mean, I was studying painting, and as I was going along, the work was very different then. But I had that interest in not thinking that it would come back, it's this type of surreal realism that is just with these figures and with model railroad. They're pretty tight on what what the world is. They really want to represent time. The trains, when they run the trains, they have a train time schedule when it comes to the station. I mean, some railroad train guys, it's just, it's not that interesting for them because it's about the trains. But this is about their material, I mean, doing landscapes, so I borrowed into that and pulled it into a painting language of some sort. I mean, I consider this sort of the last landscape sculpture. I mean, it's like, I'm not going to do another one. I mean, well, I guess we better touch wood there. I mean, I don't think time allows you to go on forever. Who knows? But I've learned a lot on with this material. So it is very much like painting, just painting with this material, just adding on and adding on. But it's so, yeah. And if you overglue, then you have to keep adding more just to take it. There's been times where I just thought this is not working. So I scare myself sometimes. But it's like, it's been with something, there's mood swings. There's it's like, it's definitely, you can talk back. But I've run into that with other pieces, especially, one that's already 27 or 28 years. But I think we have a pretty good understanding. This one's still young. When's enough enough? Or when is too much too much? It's been that kind of conversation with it. And then each time I get over it and then just keep going. The only stopping is when it's being shown, so.